Hello and welcome back to the next part of Greek. And today we're going to be learning about Iacchobon ton tou Zebediou, which sounds like Jacob of Zebedee, but it's actually James. We translate it as James in English. So repeat after me. Iacchobon ton tou Zebediou. And here we have Zebedee, Zebediou, and he is with his wife Salome. And the two little kids here are little baby James and little baby John, Iacchobon and Zebedion. And isn't it embarrassing when you have little baby pictures shown? So I thought I would start by introducing little baby pictures of these guys. And this is by a fellow named Hans van Kulmbach from 1511. And he is from Nuremberg, which is a place in Germany. Here's a nice little picture. I've shown you a lot of places around the Greek areas, and we will learn about a lot of those, but this painter, Hans van Kulmbach, is from Nuremberg. And I'll show you that here on our map. So here we have Tein Thalasan tes Galileas. Whoops. Way down in this area. So there's the Sea of Galilee, tes Thalasan, or Tein Thalasan tes Galileas. And we talked about the Basilica from Patra over here in Greece. And if we zoom out a little bit and take a look at the whole world, up here in Germany, we have a place called Nuremberg, and that is where our artist is from. You can kind of get a sense for where we're dealing with here. And this guy's name is Hans van Kulmbach. Here's a picture from the 1400s, and you can see here they say Nurembergas, or Nuremberg, kind of in the Latinized font. And here's another picture. And Nuremberg was home of a lot of Nazi activity leading up to World War II. And so in modern times it's very relevant culturally because they would hold their Nazi rallies there. And so where we have this Renaissance artist painting the picture of Jacob, we lead up into modern times with very relevant and unfortunate events. Here is a picture of Nuremberg from 1935. And because it was home of so much Nazi activity, it was bombed in World War II. And so there's another photo showing what happened. Here's a map from the 17 or 1800s of the city of Nuremberg. And you can see the medieval structure around the outside of it. And here is the bombing activity that happened during World War II. The dark red, or the bright red area is the areas that were most heavily bombed, and then the gray were areas that were heavily impacted, and the blue were areas that were hit but not completely destroyed. And here is Nuremberg in more recent times, from the Süd, which is south. You can see here in German, Süd. And in modern times, I'll take you kind of through it here. A business tower. There's a Kirche, is a church. St. Petrus Kirche is St. Peter's Church over there. Langwasser probably means long water. St. Lorenz Kirche is St. Lawrence Church. Christuskirche, Christ's Church. Markuskirche over there. St. Ludwigskirche, St. Sebaldus-Kirche, very close right here. And here we have St. Jakobkirche, St. Jacob's Church. Jacob in English being James. And so we're back to ancient Greek, to Iacchobon. And there we have our painting by Hans van Kulmbach again from Nuremberg. Okay, now here we have our picture by Raphael again. We've seen this one a lot. And so we have Iesu Christu here. Petros, or Simona, And then we have Andrew over here. And here we have Tous Adelphus, which we're learning about today. Jacobon, ton to Zebediah, there's Zebediah. Kai Ioannen, probably John here. We'll just say that this is Jacobon and then this is Ioannen, or Ioannen. Ton Adelphon autou, which means his brother. Ton Adelphon autou. And they are Huioi, ton to Zebediah, or sons of Zebedee. And here's our ploio again. Now this ploio has enough room for several people. And in the account from John, I think, we're in Matthew right now, in the account from John, they are called by Jesus, who is walking along the sea, or peripaton de, tein thalasan tes Galileas. Peripaton is walking alongside. And he calls Iacobon ton to Zebediah, Kai Ioannen ton Adelphon autou, or Jacob, the son of Zebedee, Jacobon ton to Zebediah, and John, the brother of him, Ioannen ton Adelphon autou, and he leaves them, he leaves Zebediah, on the ship with the other people that are on the ship. And so, once again, the painting by Raphael, according to the New Testament, is ridiculous because there's no chance that this is the same scene as portrayed in the New Testament because there were other people on the boat, according to, I think it's Mark. This story is in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, so I might be mistaken which reference it is. And here they are, ballontes, hurling, amphiblastron, the net. Ballontes is throwing, and then amphiblastron. And here is a fresco of St. John, located in Città del Vaticano, Vatican City. And you can see over here, Ioannen is writing what appears to be an alpha, a rho, and if I had to guess, there's going to be a key or something coming over here, because he was a big writer. John is the one that we say wrote the book of John, the Gospel of John, or the fourth Gospel. He wrote 1st, 2nd, and 3rd John, and also the book of Revelation. And so 5 books out of our New Testament are written by this happy little kid over here. Probably this one, John. And so he was a big author. And so this picture from Vatican City shows him writing some books because he was a major contributor to the New Testament. Ioannen. Okay. And then here's another picture of Byzantine art. And I believe this fellow down here would be Ioannen. And this is the beginning of one of the books from Byzantine scripture. This is from about 1100 AD. And you can see this section over here has all sorts of Greek writing. And that would be, let me zoom in a little bit. Let's see. We can see, I can read some of this. Ton, agion, apo, is the holy, from, and then I'm not sure what this letter is supposed to be because some of their fonts are a little different. Here we can see theo, and then logon over here, the words of God, and ace is into, and this is probably something like poiein, or poienema, which is the works of, or the writings of. And so this is a cover page. It's about 1,000 years old. Here's a painting by Rembrandt. Rembrandt was a very important artist historically. This is showing Iacobon, or James, Iacobon ton to Zebedayu. And Rembrandt was one of the first artists to show the biblical characters looking Jewish. If we look at the original painting that I showed you by Hans van Kulmbach from 1511, all of these people look probably German. Since he was a German painter, painting from Germany, he made the characters from the stories look German, as opposed to Rembrandt, who was painting around the same time. He didn't just paint them as looking like the people from the area, but as a Dutch painter, he made them actually look Jewish. And so, for the first time, the folks from the stories that he was portraying actually had the Jewish sort of look. And historically, that's very relevant. Rembrandt's a great artist and ahead of his time. And Iacobon, ton to Zebedayu, Kai Ioannin, ton Adelphon autou, so that's James, the son of Zebedee, and John, his brother, are also folks who appear at the Transfiguration of Jesus. And here's the Transfiguration portrayed by Raphael. And then here's the Transfiguration portrayed by Lodovico Carracci. And this one, the Lodovico Transfiguration, has a lot more action, I think. The movement and the color is much more vibrant, and we can really see a stunning event here that really surprised people. Up here, I think we have Moses and Abraham, and down here we have some of the other folks from the Transfiguration. One of these, I don't know who, is supposed to be Iacobon, ton to Zebedayu. And who is Iacobon? James! Hopefully you said James. And who is Zebedayu? Zebedee! So who is Iacobon? James. And who is Zebedayu? Zebedee. And who is Ioannin? Ioannin ton Adelphon autou is John, the brother of him, or John, his brother. And so one of these folks is Iacobon, we'll say him, and the other one is John, maybe we'll say him. Or perhaps John is the older one. I don't know who's older. But anyway, let's go back to the Raphael Transfiguration. I've said a lot of bad things about Raphael lately because his boat was too small. But this redeems his efforts here. He's a wonderful painter. And so I don't want you to think that everything Raphael did was wrong. Historically, this seems to be fairly accurate and very good representation of what happened at the Transfiguration. And that is all we're going to do for today. Great listening.